All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, I entertain a motion to reconvene in open session.
So moved. Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to reconvene in open session. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor state aye. Aye. All those opposed, same right. Any abstentions? We are now back in open session. Please rise as we salute the flag.
We have this last one.
So since it's not here, we will face the hallway because there's a flag in the hallway.
So now, United States.
Yes, we'll face the hallway. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we'll have the superintendent's report and presentations.
Good evening, everyone. Happy summer. Today I met with all the principals, and we are talking about communication for the 25-26 school year. It will be sent out to parents the week of August 18th. I wanted to express gratitude to our facilities department. They've all been working nonstop since school has let out. I do want everyone to be mindful of the fact that the schools are very busy during the summer. We have a lot of facilities used. All the buildings are used nonstop during the summer. Is it better? Okay, so with our buildings being heavily used, I just want to go over a couple of the examples of the work that they do in the summer where most people aren't here and they don't appreciate how much work does happen with that department during the summer. So we have the summer deep cleaning of all areas. And remember, while the schools are being very active, including floor waxing and carpet cleaning. There's a continuation of regular maintenance work orders. Not easy to keep up the AC equipment running well in all the buildings, especially when we have brownouts. Preventative maintenance by our staff, the HVAC coil cleaning, filter changes, vent cleaning, inspection by plumbing systems, etc. Inspections of all gym equipment and bleachers, cleaning of the school kitchen, hood systems and grease traps, service and inspection of school kitchen fire suppression systems, new fire and burglar alarm monitoring vendor, using smartphones now are accessible, so they have to go through the training for that, service and inspection of fire extinguishers, cleaning and fireproofing all the auditorium and stage curtains, significant preparation for the fall sports, the field, soccer, fences, nets, tennis courts, new football field, practice fields, etc. Installation of door access control systems at the bus depot, paving repairs outside the bus depot and Cougar Stadium back gate, tree trimming, concrete repairs, painting where needed. And this is just a very short list of the district-wide things. There's very building-specific things, but I just wanted to give them an acknowledgement for all the hard work that they do. And like I said, the summer goes by very, very quickly, and the buildings are used as if we didn't stop school. And they're doing all of that around that in this heat. So thank you to all of them. Now, of the presentation, Ms. Fiona Borland, our Director of Curriculum Instruction and Staff Development, is going to present our NJGPA results. Thank you.
Thanks. Good evening. I'm here just to present the assessment data of one test, the New Jersey Graduation Proficiency Assessment given in the spring. So what is this? The NJGPA is designed to measure the extent to which students are graduation ready in both English and mathematics. The ELA component is aligned to the grade 10 New Jersey students learning standards, and the math component is aligned to the Algebra 1 and Geometry New Jersey student learning standards. In addition to serving as a graduation requirement, results from the NJGPA can be used to aid in review of the curriculum, to help identify potential focus areas of instruction and intervention for students who demonstrate need. It is administered to all 11th grade students, and it was administered in March. There are only two categories in which students are ranked. They are either ranked as not yet graduation ready or graduation ready. So the New Jersey Board of Education adopted 725 as a proficiency level cut for the English language arts and mathematics components. So students need a score of 725 on the NJGPA in each subject area to be considered graduation ready. Students who do not meet the minimum requirement for each score of a component have the opportunity to receive additional supports, and there are multiple steps that they can take. The first is simply to retake the test to demonstrate proficiency in ELA and math. The second is that there are alternative assessments that can be counted as an equal weight to the 725. So students can use the PSAT, the SAT, the ACT, AccuPlacer are some of the tests that can be used. And a third pathway would be that students can use a portfolio appeal to demonstrate their readiness for graduation. The most important thing about this slide is the last bullet. So it is very important that whenever, as a school district, we are presenting student data, that we protect our student privacy. And in order to do that, the New Jersey Department of Education maintains 10 as its minimum N size. So when you see charts tonight and you see that there are missing subgroups, it does not mean that the subgroup was not, that we have no students in that subgroup or that subgroup was not reported. It means that subgroup had an N of less than 10. Okay, so first we will start by just going through the English Language Arts Assessment. We always, as we know, and always celebrate here in Montgomery, we outperform the state in every content area and in every test. And so our students in the English Language Arts section, we have 95.5% of our students are graduation ready, leaving 4.5% of our students still working towards that goal. You'll see the trends over 3 years. We have 2023 displayed, 2024, and 2025. Looking at our 95.5% proficient in 2025. The following slide is our subgroups by race. Our Hispanic students demonstrate a 91.2% readiness. Our Asian students have a 98.1%. 76.5% of our Black students are prepared, and 94.6% of our white students are prepared. Again, we have students in the other categories, but the N is under 10. Moving forward to other subgroups, 97.3% of our female students are graduation ready, 94.4% of our male students, 83.3% of our students who are identified as economically disadvantaged, and 75.6% of our students with disabilities are graduation ready as of March of 2025. I'm just going to go through the same data points for our mathematics. So in math, we see that 92% of our students are graduation ready, far outperforming the state by leaps and bounds, leaving 8% of our students still working towards that goal. These are our data points over 2023, 2024, and 2025, with the 92% being our 2025 percentage of students ready for graduation. As we look at our subgroups broken down by race, 79.4% of our Hispanic students are ready for graduation, 97.6% of our Asian students, 58.8% of our Black students, and 89.9% of our white students. Additional subgroups that we look at are the male and female. 92% of our female students and 91.6% of our male students are ready for graduation. 69.4% of our students who are identified as economically disadvantaged, and 53.3% of our students with disabilities. So, to point out at the beginning is that the fact that our students outperform the state is something that we are always used to seeing here in Montgomery. The 90% of our students demonstrating graduation ready in both language arts and mathematics is extraordinarily high. So that is just really an accomplishment that our teachers should feel proud of, our school district should feel proud of. It is not an easy goal to attain, and that has been true for over 3 years. We have stable, high-performing data.
So just a quick question. The data from 23 to 25 seems to have shifted significantly in mathematics. What is the reason for that?
So do we want to do that? Do you want me to do the intervention side, or should I start the questions now? I can do both.
I just noticed that.
The question after.
Yeah, I'm absolutely prepared to talk about that. I just feel like I'll do the interventions because some of these things might help you. Student performance is regularly monitored, analyzed, and discussed by our students, by our staff, our teachers, our counselors, our administrators at team meetings. Students who are at risk of struggling and potentially not passing the MJ GPA, they are identified identified months before. There is interventions provided for them, there is tutoring, there is after-school programs. We really identify and know our students who are at risk and work diligently with them. The data is continuously used to determine the efficiency of the instructional practices. We include identifying frequently missed standards and adjusting the curriculum as necessary. When we get these reports, it tells us, as all data can be aggregated from any assessment, which standards are standards that our students are struggling with versus ones that we have complete and utter proficiency at. Our content area supervisors work closely with their teachers, really breaking down the local assessments, the unit assessments, chapter by chapter, to make sure that the progression of skills continues. Additionally, there is a math and literacy skills lab courses, and those are designed for students who demonstrate a more significant need for support. They often run concurrent with other math classes so that the students are really given the extra time and the extra instruction in those content areas that they need. We also run after-school clinics. Students are identified as needing additional targeted supports through multiple data points, not just one. We also make sure that there are targeted in-class activities that the classroom teachers are implementing during the regular math lessons that our students have to make sure that they are ready for the NJGPA testing platform. And we also continue to use our STAR 360 administered in the fall, winter, and spring in the 9th and 10th grade ELA classes. We do not use STAR to measure progress in our high school math classes. It's not normed for those tests. It can give us some proficiency data, but not towards the separate tests. Additionally, we have the Achieve After School program and additional support and targeted support during study halls. And last but not least, the next administration will take place in March of 2026. Now, I'm happy to roll into the first question. Okay.
Any questions from the board?
Okay, so I just, I'm gonna go back to that slide. So I just want to make sure, point out when we're looking at this slide, that we are looking at 2.2%. So we've got a 94.2% students are proficient in 2024, and 92% of our students are proficient in 2025. When we are looking at these three bars, they are different cohorts of children. And so when you get down to the not proficient, which we talked about being 8% of our students being not proficient, talking about 32 students, and that's an incredibly small N. And so when you have, I think maybe you're also looking at the subgroup data, when you are looking at students in this tiny little proportion of students, one student either way is going to impact the percent proficient greatly. So we are not looking at, we are looking at a small decline that is really based on the children that are in each grade. Sometimes some grades are heavy with newcomers, with our multilingual language newcomers. Sometimes we have different students with disabilities. It's a population of who is in each grade. And so when you look at the consistency between 92, 94, and 92, you're still looking at an incredibly high success rate. You're not really looking at a significant drop.
Yeah, I mean, my point was, you're showing me the data sliced, right?
Yes.
So when I look at the sliced data, then
Of course.
I have a question about it, right? Overall, yes, but did something change, to your point? Did we get, certain group of kids, or, is there any?
Yes.
If you
So we
showing me
actually
the
have had
points,
a significant increase in the, again, a very small population when you actually count numbers, but in percentage from 2024 to 2025, there is a significant percent increase in economically disadvantaged students. And so that is one of the subgroups that struggles, and we know that, across data research, it's a student population that we really need to make sure that we target and that we're meeting their needs.
I have questions. For this test, is supposed for multiple grades, or you're just presenting one?
It's only given to 11th graders.
Oh, 11th graders. And you also mentioned intervention in the last slides, and my question would be, if this is a summative assessment, if you use summative information to inform intervention strategies, wouldn't that be too late?
So that these are not all post. So when we look at the student performance is regularly monitored, that is not post the assessment. So you're correct, the NJGPA is a summative assessment, and so prior to the NJGPA, we are monitoring students. We know exactly who we need to be providing intervention for. We know who's being invited to after-school tutoring programs. We know who's being pulled out of study hall and supported in study hall. It is not post. The interventions do not only speak to post.
Assessment results will help you inform which group goes to that.
Yes.
Thank you.
You are.
I have a question. So we know that demographics in our town is changing. So as you mentioned, then there will be an increased trend of enrolling, seeing children from economically disadvantaged children, and we want them to be as successful as any other student. So what is the plan to help them? Because clearly they will not have the same type of assistance at home, right, to help them catch up. So like, what type of interventions you would think are the most effective?
Yeah,
so we do not start the trend that's downward.
Right, and I guess I really just want to continue to stress that a 92% and a 2% change in decrease that could happen to any cohort, right? I specifically was asked about a change in a subgroup population, and that does exist. The number has changed. But when you look at, that could have been when you look at 3 cohorts of students, you know, you have at any given time students who are really exceptional at something and students who struggle in a particular area. So that 8% is 32 students, and they could be distributed in any unique combination in each year. But that doesn't negate your question. So it is the things that we're currently doing. More than ever before in the last, I would say the last 5 years that I have been in the district, our use of data is profound. We have more and multiple data points, and that's why, you know, to Dr. Wang's question, absolutely, our students are identified ahead of time. We're still getting a 92% success rate because our children are provided with those interventions, because they are given extra support, because the teachers are meeting their needs both in the classroom and after school. They're not a lost population. They're a population that we are actively making sure their needs are met. And I mean, that's our heaviest research-based practice is to identify the targeted areas that students need to have work done in, and then to provide their reinforcement for those targeted areas. We're doing that extremely well.
Yeah, because like in some of the slides where you show the breakdown by different subgroups, regardless whether you look at gender or economic status or ethnic background, like it seems like the trend is pretty consistent, right? Like there is really not one chart that would have a different trend.
No,
so,
sorry, go ahead.
So I'm just wondering, it's like, I know that right now it's not, okay, like all hands on deck is like, we really in crisis, but it may be a signal, it may be a symptom. So like, that's why I'm asking how we are prepared to just catch it before.
Yeah, and I just don't want to give the impression that there is a pandemic coming of poor performance. When you're looking at this screen and both of our subgroup populations, but I'll particularly stay on this screen for a moment. Obviously, you can be female and economically disadvantaged. You can be a male with a student with learning disabilities. So there are students that are in both of those subcategories. But when you're looking at some of these subcategories, the N actually is 10. And so for, if I have 10 random students, one student being at 724 puts us at 70%, and one student being at 726 all of a sudden makes us 80% in that subgroup. So the N is so tiny in the subgroups that it's not the kind of data point that points us towards a trend that we need to be nervous about. It continues to say we want to meet the needs of all of our students. And again, when you're looking at 32 of them, the teachers know them by name. Like, I'm confident that both Ms. Stolowski and Ms. Riddell can tell you the 32 kids and the 18 kids that have been identified in November that they are keeping an eye on and watching and working with. And so it's not, I don't think that we need to be concerned about a dropping trend at this point.
And may I have another follow-up question? So you mentioned we started to identify the kids need intervention early, and may I ask what type of data, assessment, a test that you use to track the student, each cohort's growth?
I want you to explain the last part of your question.
What type of assessment or data that you use to track each cohort's growth, from early grade to high school, something like that?
Well, as you know, we use our STAR 360 that goes all the way from 3rd grade to 8th grade in math, and then goes from 3rd grade to 10th grade in ELA. Once we get into the high school math courses, we are using the course assessments, and the course assessments are broken down by standards and aggregated that way for the PLCs to talk about. And then we track marking period grades as well as unit assessment grades separately, so that we can see the trend in that data as well, and that helps us identify which students we need to meet their needs.
Any other questions from the board? Thank you, Ms. Moreland.
That concludes the superintendent report.
All right, we'll now move on to committee representative reports. Up first, MTA President Mike Rizzoli.
Good evening, everyone. A quick report for us. Right now, we're running some summer programs. Our first program we're running is a summer reading program, where teachers are recommending children who may need some books. So we're making sure we have volunteers that are dropping off books to different students and families so they can achieve some summer reading. And we're also currently working with the food pantry. So we're helping supply drop-off items, things like that. So those are our 2 MTA summer programs. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any board member, delegate, or representative reports this evening? Hearing none, we'll move into, I believe, the only committee that met this month is OFF. Ms. Relak.
The Operations, Facilities, and Finance Committee met on July 8th to review ongoing and upcoming initiatives impacting the Montgomery Township School District. Mr. Andrew Italiano provided an update on our district's auditor RFP process. As of today, 4 firms have responded to the RFP. 2 firms will be invited for the interview. The other 2 firms do not have adequate experience with the auditor of public schools. The business administrator will schedule interviews to finalize the selection of the auditor for the period ending June 30th, 2025. Mr. Italiano also shared plans to increase oversight of the food service program by participating in the Fall 25 advisory meetings and visiting a different school cafeteria each Friday. Discussions turned to several items of old business. The shared service agreement for the community pool remains unresolved, but communication with the township has resumed. Thank you, Board Member Cookie Franco Herman, for facilitating discussions between the township and the school administration. Mr. Italiano will continue to share updates with the committee to facilitate resolution. On the topic of the pilot program, Mr. Italiano and Superintendent McLaughlin reported that legal counsel has been consulted and the outreach to the township will begin shortly. Superintendent also addressed ongoing discussions around K-4 school restructuring, which continues to surface in PTO and parent group discussion meetings due to concerns over the number of transitions for younger students. A feasibility study is underway, and architect Will Ross from Brett Samgen Architects will attend the August committee meeting to provide further insights. New business included approval of a fee increase for the YMCA program for the 25-26 school year. Representatives from Mashios, the district's food service vendor, responded to questions about vendor allowances, rebates, and discounts, reporting approximately $129,000 in cost offsets through May. The committee members raised questions about how these values are reported, whether they will increase with June's data, and what benefits the district derives from these programs, and the cost of hiring of an additional chef. Mr. Corey Delgado introduced the Hope Squad program, a peer-based mental health initiative designed for students in grades 5 to 12. The program focuses on training students to recognize and respond to signs of distress among their peers. It is supported nationally and can be funded locally for the first 2 years by Jordan Relays, with future support potentially coming from PTA, PTO groups, the Student Activities Fund, and municipal grants. Committee members raised concerns about the impact of the program on student mental health, the intensity and content of training, students' workload, and the sustainability of funding beyond the initial 2-year period. The committee requested a copy of the curriculum used by Hope Squad instructors, as well as letters from the superintendents in districts where this program has been implemented, to learn more about the observed outcomes of the program and its actual impact on students. The meeting concluded with a series of follow-up questions from committee members. These included requests for additional information on last year's vending reporting, the cost-benefit analysis of food service changes, finalization of the pool agreement, and the scope of and findings of the K-4 restructuring feasibility study. The next off-committee meeting is scheduled for August 19th. Any questions?
Hearing none. Thank you, Ms. Felak. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of June 17, 2025, Executive Session 1, June 17, 2025, Executive Session 2, June 17, 2025, Business Meeting, June 19, 2025, Special Meeting, and June 30th, 2025, Special Meeting.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second to approve the aforementioned minutes. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor state aye. Aye. All those opposed, same right. Abstentions? Motion carried. The board recognizes the correspondence to the board. Action agenda items, public comment. The Board of Education welcomes and encourages input from the public. Members of the public are allotted one opportunity to address the board regarding the action agenda items only, for up to a maximum of 3 minutes per speaker. All comments must be directed to the board. Before you make your comment, please state your full name and address and enter both on the Chromebook provided. Being mindful of privacy rights regarding students, board employees, and board members, and to avoid any liability on the part of the speaker, the board discourages defamatory and discourteous remarks. The public comment portions of the meeting are not structured as question and answer sessions, but rather are offered as opportunities for the public to share their thoughts with the board. The board may need to refer an issue to the superintendent if the issue has not been handled through the appropriate chain of command, usually starting at the school level. Responses may be provided at the end of this session. Any public comments on action agenda items? Going once, going twice. We are now closed.
Okay, before we move to our action items portion of the agenda, I just have to make 2 quick updates. On item 3.3 in the second paragraph, we're just going to change that language to read from July 15, 2025 to June 30th, 2025. And also, I have to read a last minute resolution into the agenda. It's a personnel item. It is 4.2 is going to be the number, and it reads as follows. Whereas the Montgomery Township Board of Education, hereinafter referred to as the board, and the Association of Principals and Supervisors of Montgomery Township, hereinafter referred to as association, have negotiated a successor collective negotiations agreement, hereinafter referred to as the CNA, for the 2025-2026, 26-27, 27-28, and 28-29 school years. And whereas the association has, by a majority vote of its membership, ratified the CNA. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board hereby ratifies and approves the terms of the CNA for the 2025-26, 26-27, 27-28, and 2028-2029 school years, which is attached to this resolution and made part hereof, and be it further resolved that the board hereby authorizes the board president and business administrator to execute on behalf of the board the CNA by and between the board and the association. So that is part of agenda items 1.1 through 4.2.
Thank you, Mr. Caliano. At this time, I entertain a motion to adopt action agenda items 1.1 through 4.2.
So moved. Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to adopt action agenda items 1.1 through 4.2. Roll call, please, Mr. Caliano.
Okay, before I take the roll call, I just want to point out to Ms. Harris and Ms. Franco-Herman, when you make your vote, please abstain from item 4.2, okay? Thank you. Dr. Wang.
Yes.
Ms. Dowling.
Yes.
Ms. Franco-Herman.
Abstain 1.2, 4.1, 4.2, yes to everything else.
Do me a favor, I'm assuming the 4.2, could you read the other ones for me, please?
1.2 is the policy one.
Okay.
4.1 is the regular personnel one.
Okay, 1.2, 4.1, and 4.2. Noted. Thank you. Ms. Filak?
Yes.
Ms. Harris?
Abstain, what was it, 1 point, the same.
1.2, 4.1, and 4.2, the same? All others, okay. Thank you. Ms. Willeka Jernigan?
Yes.
Mr. Todd?
Enthusiastically, yes.
Thank you. Motion's carried.
Thank you, Mr. Caliano. New business from the public. The Board of Education welcomes and encourages input from the public. Members of the public are allotted one opportunity to bring any new business to the board for up to a maximum of 3 minutes per speaker. All comments must be directed to the board. Before you make your comment, please state your full name and address and enter both in the Chromebook provided. Being mindful of privacy rights regarding students, board employees, and board members, and to avoid any potential liability on the part of the speaker, the board discourages defamatory and discourteous remarks. The public comment portions of the meeting are not structured as question and answer sessions. The board may need to refer an issue to the superintendent if the issue has not been handled through the appropriate chain of command, usually starting at the school level. Responses may be provided at the end of this session. Any comments from the public on new business? Hearing none. New business public comment portion is closed. Any closing comments, discussion from the board?
I have a comment. And thank you tonight to everyone being here. Today I want to talk about why retention matters and why the data must guide us. And thank you again, my board fellows and community members. I'm here to speak something I believe we must start addressing more seriously as a school district: retention. So retention is about more than numbers. It reflects how families perceive our schools, how supported students feel, and how well we're delivering on our promise of academic and emotional growth. So let's begin with a fact. According to NJDOE data, total enrollment in our school district dropped by 90 students between school year of 2023 to 2024 and school year of 2024 to 2025. So from 4,482 to 4,394. So that's not a projection, it's already happened. So at the lower middle school alone, enrollment declined by 17 students in just 1 year. These are not isolated incidents. When you zoom out, those losses add up and they raise important questions. Why are students leaving? Are they transferring to private schools, neighborhood schools? Are they seeking different academic programs, better fit, or more support? Are they leaving because the gaps we could actually address? If only we had the data to guide us, we can't afford to ignore this. Because every student who leaves takes resources with them. Resources that fund teachers, support services, extra curriculum, future planning. For example, if we lose just 10% of 400 student cohort, that's 40 students. Financially, that can equal the salary of 10 teachers here. So, and we all say we want to retain our teachers, but if we cannot retain our students, How can we do that sustainability? Retention is deeply linked to academic growth. In May and June, I raised a concern about how we measure students are actually progressing over time. We heard the top 10 students are really showing growth compared to their national peers based on national growth percentile. That's really good, but that's not the full picture. So how about the rest of our students? What about their own personal growth compared to themselves? That is, what were their starting points and how far did they move over the school year? Are they showing typical growth? Are some falling behind without early intervention? State test tells us how students perform at a moment in time, as shown in today's presentation, but it doesn't show us how much they grew. So for that, we need benchmark assessment, like the STAR exam administered in our school district. It's not perfect, but it gives us some important information we currently don't have anywhere else. Growth data across the full range of learners, from the bottom percentile to the top percentile. And the growth matters because when students aren't growing academically, socially, or emotionally, families notice and some leave. So this is not just about test scores, it's about patterns, and patterns require data. We need to understand who is leaving and when. Are there patterns by grade, by program, by subgroup? Are students in certain cohort progressing less than others? What is working and for whom? So those are not questions we can answer with averages. These are questions that require disaggregated longitudinal data and a shared willingness to look at the results, even when they are uncomfortable. So because if we're not measuring retention trends and student growth in meaningful ways, we're operating in dark. Educational research gives us tools, cohort comparisons, percentile growth bands, predictive indicators. These tools help us understand not only what's happening, but why, and what can we do about it. We should not fear about data. We should not fear the absence of it. We should not be defensive when we ask for evidence. We should ask why we didn't demand it ourselves. And we should not reduce equity to equal access in name only. We need to examine actual outcomes and make sure all students are being supported to grow. So I'm not asking for any decisions tonight, but I do ask this, that we take this issue seriously. Let's begin a deeper conversation about retention, about growth, about how we can better serve all students, not just the ones who survive, but also those who struggle and those who quietly walk away. I look forward to bringing some concrete discussion next time for the future, but for now, I simply ask what we reflect on this. And if we say we want best for our students, are we doing the work we truly understand how we're doing, why some are leaving, and what we can do differently? That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Wayne. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, at this time, I entertain a motion to adjourn. We probably move in second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same right. Questions, extensions? Thank you all very much for showing up tonight. Thank you.